Welcome to another installment of Ask Adam. This week's question comes from Rob Dufresne. And Rob asked, what are the different cloud types and how do they form? Well, there are 10 main cloud types and subsections of each, which we'll get into at a later time. And these clouds are either high, mid, or low level in our atmosphere, and there are a couple of clouds that go into both of those categories. And these cloud types are classified and organized by Latin words. And let's go into this little Latin lesson, which can help you memorize what you're looking at. And if you already know Latin, this is going to be easy for you. Cirro means curl, cumulo means heap, strato means layer, nimbo, rain, so anything with nimbo in it means it produces rain. Alto means high. And speaking of alto, let's start with those high clouds. Three main types we'll be talking about: cirrus, cirrocumulus, and cirrostratus. Now, I'm willing to bet you know these clouds, cirrus clouds. They look like horsetails, wispy in the sky. Fun fact about them is that they're 100% ice crystals, high enough in the atmosphere that water can't make it there, so it all freezes. And these have that term cirro in them. That means curl, and you see in this picture here, they have those curls in them. There's also cirrocumulus, cirro, curl, cumulo, heap. These are thin patches with a grain of rice appearance. Some people describe them as mackerel sky, and seeing these during a sunset is one of nature's beauties. Here's an example of that. It reflects a lot of color and makes some beautiful gradients up in the sky. Now you also have cirrostratus, which has its own unique features. These are clouds that are like a blanket high in the troposphere, and they appear hazy around the sun. Creates a sun halo from the ice crystals refracting that light. Again, these are high enough that this is all ice crystals, so if you ever noticed it looks like a rainbow around the sun, that's because of cirrostratus clouds. Now we're getting on to the middle level: altocumulus, altostratus, and nimbostratus. There's that nimbo, so we're going to be talking about rain here. First, altocumulus. These are mid-level cumulus clouds. They vary in appearance and have a lot of different subtypes. They usually look like smaller cumulus clouds since they are farther away from us. Next up is the most boring cloud. Call this one altostratus. They're gray, they're gloomy, not much definition to them, and they don't look too pretty. The sun is usually dimly visible when you see these. And then you have nimbostratus. These are also featureless. They're dark, but they can produce rain. They're one of the two cloud types that can produce a consistent type of precipitation. Now, low-level clouds. Here we get into cumulonimbus, cumulus, stratus, and stratocumulus. Cumulonimbus is something you might know as well. These are the thunderstorm clouds. They stretch all the way up to the top of the troposphere, so they span all three layers that we've been talking about, and they can feature an anvil shape on top, and there's a very cool reason why. 100% of the weather that we talk about that affects us on a daily basis occurs in the lowermost layer of the atmosphere, the troposphere. I mentioned this cloud stretches to the top of the troposphere. It hits what's called the tropopause. Once you get to the stratosphere, that's what's considered a stable layer of our atmosphere. Air can't rise. So it hits an invisible ceiling and flattens out and creates that anvil effect that we've been talking about. Now, cumulus clouds are the most well-known cloud. Whether you realize it or not, you've probably drawn one before. They have flat bottoms and some puffy tops. They look like cotton balls, and these are some of the most aesthetic clouds we have in our sky. Now, on the opposite end of that, we have stratus clouds, which are gray, gloomy clouds. They tend to be featureless, create overcast conditions, and if these clouds were in contact with the ground, that's what we would consider fog. And then we have stratocumulus clouds. Remember, strato means layer, cumulo means heap. These are a layer of low, puffy clouds that can join up in the sky. The difference between stratocumulus and cumulus is stratocumulus clouds are wider than they are tall, but cumulus clouds are taller than they are wide, so they have a different look to them. That covers the 10 main cloud types, and I love talking about clouds. So next week, I'm going to show you my top 3 favorite clouds of all times, and you haven't seen them yet. Thank you, Rob, for this great question. Stay curious.